Welcome back to another episode of the Bleed Lows podcast. And we have a special interview today, a player interview with recently acquired minor league outfielder Mike Sirota from the Cincinnati Reds, who is now on the Los Angeles Dodgers after the Gavin Lux trade. So, Mike, obviously you've had a couple weeks now to, have this trade mature, saturate in your mind. Where are your thoughts at right now, post-trade?
Yeah, so obviously when the trade happened, it happened really quick. I got down to the complex a few weeks ago, and when I got there, they did an awesome job getting me accustomed to everything going on. Everyone was super nice. Complex was beautiful, obviously. Got to meet some of my guys that are going to be my teammates in the future and things like that. So everything so far has been smooth sailing. They did an awesome job with that. Obviously, I was a little nervous at first, but after the couple weeks I had in Arizona, it was great. So,
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Everything we've heard from covering the Dodgers, pretty much top to bottom, all the way down to the single A levels and the instructional leagues. They do a really good job in communication. So I'm glad they got you in here, because it is interesting in your case, because it's not, you were drafted just last year in a 2024 MLB draft. So it's kind of rare to see a pick that, especially in the third round, get traded almost immediately, not even getting your feet wet with the Reds organization. I think there's only like one at bat I could find with you in a Reds jersey on the internet. So, I mean, it's different, especially where you caught off guard a little bit. And then kind of continuing off that, you hear the Dodgers. This is a team that's kind of had their eyes on you for the past couple of years. I mean, they even drafted you out of high school. Kind of come full circle now, right?
yeah, for sure. I mean, when I got traded, I was actually packing my stuff to leave to go to the Reds complex the next day to report over there for a mini camp that they had going on. So when I got traded, it did catch me super off guard, because I was in the mindset that I was going to be going to their complex the next day. And obviously I knew some of the guys from last year that I got drafted with, I was friends with. So it definitely caught me off guard. But when I heard it was to the Dodgers, it really wasn't surprising at all. I mean, they've been a team since high school that's had their eyes on me. So when I heard it was them, I told my agent, I was like, it definitely makes sense that it was them. So
Yeah, I mean, we're glad it worked out that way. And, it was a fan favorite in Gavin Lux, but he kind of gets the opportunity to grow in Cincinnati, and you kind of get the opportunity to grow in a new organization in Los Angeles, has a really good track record of player development. So that has to excite you. That kind of brings me to Jacob's question over here. Let's ask that.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you what you think the biggest adjustment from like collegiate baseball to the minor leagues is going to be as a whole, and like for you specifically as a hitter.
I think in terms of just the baseball side of things, playing every single day is definitely something that you need to get used to. Obviously in college, it's the weekends, and then you have some midweeks here and there. But playing every day is going to be something that I have to get used to for sure. And in terms of on the field stuff, everyone is good in professional baseball. Obviously, the pitching, the way they do things is a little bit different in professional baseball. Everybody has a pitch that they're really trusting in, if that makes sense. Like everyone has a good fastball, a good slider, some sort of off-speed pitch. In college, sometimes you get those guys that feel like free at bats in a sense, where it feels almost easy at the plate to get hits off of those guys. But I think in professional baseball, every single at bat is going to be a grind, and you need to be locked in every time you get to home plate, or else you're not going to see results.
Yeah, and that kind of helps me transition into the next thing I wanted to ask you. I looked into you as much as I could when the trade happened, and one of the things I kept seeing is that one of your most elite tools at the plate is your low chase rates and your swing decisions. First, how important is that for you to succeed, and how important is it going to be to maintain that with just better pitching and guys that have those pitches, their go-to pitches to get outs?
Yeah, so I think my my selection at the plate is my best tool by far, and I think it even gets elevated at the next level with the better zones and the more consistent umpiring and things like that. But for me, really, it's just trying not to do too much and trying not to change too much, using what I'm already good at in order to elevate my game. I saw my chase rates sort of lower, or they went up a little bit at the start of my final collegiate year, my junior year, and that was because I was trying to do too much at the plate. So just finding that balance of what I'm trying to do at the plate, whether it's damage, putting the ball in play, just figuring out the right combination of things in order to see success for myself and not trying to do too much.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and then kind of piggybacking off of that, one of the things that the Dodgers are known for, especially at the major league level, is they like to walk, they like to get that free base, they like to work counts, and that seems to kind of be the profile that you've showcased that Jacob mentioned. Is there anything else that the Dodgers, in the initial conversation or over the past couple of weeks that they've kind of said, "Hey, this is something we think you can get better at. This is something we think we can change," because, once you get from, high school to college to majors, it goes down to the almost minute detail of what could either explode you as a player. Have you had any of those conversations with any of the development guys over here?
Really, just the main thing is just using my athleticism to the fullest, using my speed to the fullest every time I get on base. My day doesn't just end at home plate. I mean, it carries over to the base paths, stealing that extra base for the team. Just using my athleticism in the outfield as well. Just not really making my main thing home plate, the batter's box, and how I produce there, making it more of a five tool realm of I'm playing the field, I'm stealing bags, I'm hitting for contact, I'm hitting for power, just making sure that I'm using all of those things that I have and using them to the fullest.
I'm glad you mentioned five tool because I mean, looking at your, career in college, 3 seasons there, you kind of do have a little bit of everything to offer. 29 home runs, 48 stolen bases. I mean, you even had a 1 dot in the OPS department. And I know here on the East Coast, playing college baseball at Northeastern, it's pretty cold when games start in February and March. And to do that is really impressive, especially over a 3 season stretch. So, when you think of yourself, do you truly think you could have a five tool potential outlook, especially, obviously, MLB ways, it's a ways away here, but got to get your feet wet with the minor leagues. But isn't that what you're trying to aim for right now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I can definitely be a five tool guy at the next level. I've been making a lot of adjustments this off season, putting on a lot of weight, and I've seen really good results from that. One big problem that I had in college was my weight, and now that I've sort of made that a priority for me to get better at and to be in great shape by the time I enter my first professional season. I'm very confident in my body. I'm very confident in my skills, and I feel awesome. So I'm definitely looking forward to how it pans out this year.
you know, from an outsider's perspective, I mean, you're a young guy. You're in college just last year. You're seeing what the Dodgers have done in the past couple of off season. This is kind of what is the talk of the sport right now. Now you're part of the evil empire, is what they're being labeled now, the modern day evil empire. When you're on the Reds organization or just a fan looking at it, is it something that you think is good for baseball, or do you think more teams should try? What are your overall thoughts on kind of what the Dodgers are either doing or just taking advantage of right now?
I think it's great for the sport. I think it creates this like competitiveness within organizations because obviously some organizations aren't as well off as the Dodgers, so they need to prioritize other parts of their development system, other parts of the sport, and I think it creates a super competitive environment. Um, I think it creates better rivalries as well. I just think it's great all around.
Yeah, I mean, even looking in the minor league, I mean, the Dodgers, I know MLB Pipeline just released their top 100. Dodgers got 6 guys on there. Clearly, the competition starts where you're at right now, all the way from low A to triple A. And then even looking at the major league roster, I think that's kind of what separates the Dodgers is because not only are they competing with the teams, they're competing with themselves to get those roster spots. So, um, great answer there. Jacob, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I want to ask you about game day routines. Are you a superstitious guy? Is there anything you're doing every single day on the superstitious thing, or is it more of just a game day preparation type thing?
The way I look at it is if I'm doing something one way and I'm successful doing it, I'm going to do it day in, day out. What from the time I wake up to the order that I'm doing things in the morning, I think for me, it's superstition, but in a sense, it's preparation and comfortability at the same time that I'm doing things a specific way and it's worked for me in the past. So it creates that sort of comfortability in my process and the way I go about things. And I think it makes it that much easier when I go out on the field and play.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's not that much of a difference between superstition and preparation when it really boils down to it.
Exactly.
That's all I really got, Cody.
Alrighty, yeah, we'll wrap up here in just a second. The only other thing I gotta kind of get your opinion on here is obviously first year in minor league action coming up, but you look at the Dodgers. They have a lot of superstars under contract long term, a lot of big names out there. Does it excite you that possibly 2026, 2027, getting the opportunity to play with a lot of star players, and who's to know, they may even continue adding. I'll give you a hint. It doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon.
Yeah, no, it definitely won't end anytime soon. But yeah, it's super exciting. I mean, obviously you grow up watching guys play and you idolize some of the guys that you see, and then it's just crazy that I'm in the same organization as them now. And it just creates that extra gear for me that I want to compete and play at as high of a level as they are in the big leagues. And it adds that extra gear for me. It makes it competitive in a sense, and it also makes it obviously super cool just watching and playing potentially with the guys that you grew up playing and idolizing. So it's just awesome all around.
Yeah. And then last question here before we wrap up. Obviously you're an outfielder, center field, I believe. So is there any player that you've kind of tried to, make your game after or try to live up to that potential? Is it a current player? Is it, a recently retired player, a legend in the game? What's one player that you've kind of grew up rooting for and wanting to replicate?
I try not to mold how I play around any other player, I would say, but definitely growing up, I was huge on Mike Trout. Obviously, how could you not be? But the things he brings to the table are unmatched, especially in the past. I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago when he was a stud. But I mean, he was awesome to watch, obviously, and it's hard to not like him too. He's super humble, super quiet. So I think in all aspects of whether it's baseball, off the field stuff as well, it's hard to get better than that guy. So
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
mean, we're all young here. I'm 25. Jacob, I think you're what?
20.
20. Yeah, so obviously Mike Trout, huge impact to all of our current generation right now. So but Mike, thank you for coming on here, thank you for taking our questions, and we're looking forward to hearing your name throughout spring training. I imagine you're probably going to leave for camp sooner than later, correct? It can't be too many weeks away.
yeah, no, what day is it? The second? I leave in 2 weeks. So very,
All right.
very shortly. So
Yeah, so obviously enjoy your time of the off season. The MLB season is going to be here shortly, and like I said, we wish you luck in your minor league career.
thank you. It was great meeting you guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely.